All right, everybody, welcome back to the Waiver Wire. It's June 19th, 6:08 p.m. We're just a day away from the NBA draft. I'm joined again with my good friend Nick. We're just here to break down some of the NBA landscape as some crazy stuff has happened. You know, AD being traded, talking about the Mike Conley trade, how the Blazers are looking currently. So, we can just dive right in with AD to the Lakers. I mean, they were 37 and 45 last year. The Lakers gave up a lot to bring in AD. But, Nick, what are your thoughts on this trade?
Well, I wish I could say I was surprised, but once I saw that Vegas had the Lakers as a favorite before the trade happened, I knew that our friends down the desert clearly knew something. And so when it dropped, I wasn't surprised by the players, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and Lonzo Ball. But the picks are what make it really interesting because those picks are best swaps. So basically, no matter where the pick is, the Pelicans get their choice. And a handful of those picks are going to be in the post-LeBron era, and they could be pretty high. So depending on what those look like, you could get a similar situation of what happened to the Celtics and the Nets when the Nets traded for KG, Pierce, and was it Darren Williams?
Yeah.
And they end up trading all those picks, and then they sucked. And the Celtics got a bunch of great picks. So it's hard to tell right now, but the Lakers had to make the trade because now they're looking like a team that could make a push for the title.
Yeah, I think to me, I think they both won the trade in a sense because they both got what they were wanting. I think the pressure kind of got to Pelinka a little bit because, I was listening to Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo this morning, and it's kind of who were they bidding against? You know, and the Celtics weren't going to throw in Tatum. So, the Lakers did have the best offer, but it's you really have to give up 3 first-rounders, you know? So I think Pelinka does just feel the pressure, and he needed to make a play. He had to pull the trigger to get AD in. I do, like I said, I think they're both winners because, AD is a top 5 player in the league. You know, and LeBron wants him there. So now that he's there, they could just be winning championships, you know. So, and especially with the West being as open as it is now. I also think the Pelicans are a winner in a sense because, Brandon Ingram, I think, is a solid player. I think Lonzo can be solid. Josh Hart has shown promise. And they got 3 first-round picks, like you said, in the post-LeBron era. So it's the Pelicans could really be someone on the come-up. They still got that 4th pick to work with. And they also got the first pick, so it's man, they could really have a solid team next year.
I'm still holding out for Ingram. I was an Ingram guy when he came out. I just think he's had some injuries. He had a blood clot this year, which is scary. But yeah, I'm still on the Ingram bandwagon, so I hope he can put it together. And then I really like the way that Ingram and Zion will complement each other. Zion being that bruiser, being a physical just freak, taking it above the rim, and Ingram being a finesse player because of his build, but also a very skilled player.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still on Brandon Ingram's bandwagon too. I feel like I really want to see him succeed. I like his frame. I like how he plays. I just want to see him in the right situation and healthy, you know. So with that, after that trade, who do you think the next big free agent to sign with the Lakers will be, or who do you think the Lakers are going to try to get out there and bring into LA?
Well, I know that they're always going to go after big names, but if I was Rob Pelinka, I would not put as much product in my hair, but I'd also go after Bogdanovich, the wing from the Pacers. I think he's not an all-star, but with LeBron and Anthony Davis, I think he could be. He is just a sniper, great shooter, and he's the type of guy that LeBron has thrived with. LeBron always wants a kind of a bigger wing to be that three-point shooter, and I think if you bring in a guy like Bogdanovich, it won't force Kuzma to just be a three-point shooter because I think Kuzma is more of an all-around scorer, and that will be able to help Kuzma be more versatile on offense, and Bogdanovich just be that outside sniper. So that's who I'd go after, number one.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Kuzma because I feel like his stock has risen or like rose for not really any reason, just because he's one of the few that, or he's one of the only people left on the roster. It's all of a sudden now it's like LeBron, AD, and Kuzma. It's like I think Kuzma's good, but I don't think he's good enough to put in like AD and LeBron's company when it's like, oh, AD, Kuz, and LeBron are coming to town. It's like I don't know about I don't know if Kuzma's good enough to really be like a headliner for LA yet.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I'd like to see. I hear what you're saying about going for role players. If they were going for a big name guy, I'd see them going for someone like Kemba Walker. I think that'd be a cool fit. You know, he can really
yeah.
spread the floor, and he's also a good facilitator. I mean, he had 20 a game, 4 boards, and 5 assists. For basically a below average Hornets team. You know, who's he playing with out there? You know, he's got Malik Monk, you know, Nicholas Batum.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I know the roster, but that's because I'm a nerd.
yeah.
So, Cody Zeller, Frank Kaminsky, Batum, and
Is Kaminsky? I thought they were like shopping Kaminsky for a while there. But,
yeah, they.
Yeah, he's like a super durable player. He's only missed 6 games in the last 2 seasons, so it's like I feel like he'd be a solid pickup. I mean, the ticket price might be a little too much because I do agree with what you're saying about like you should fill it up with some role players, you know, because you got the ability to score. Now you want some two-way players or like you know you want the glue guy there. So um, one of my guys I thought would be cool if they landed was Seth Curry. You know,
He would be so good there.
yeah, even though I mean I'm a Blazer fan, I hate to see him go, but he is going to get a better deal elsewhere. I mean, he averaged 8 a game, shot 45% from three, the same percentage from the field. I mean, he played a key role for us in the postseason. He knocked down some. I mean, there was like a span there where 3 possessions in a row were 3-3-3, and it was just like it just like injected the stadium, injected the team with energy. He also he's not bad on defense either. He made some good plays defensively for us in the postseason. So I think he's somebody who can bring a lot to that Lakers team. He brings a little bit of defense, and he brings a lot of shooting for that team.
Yeah, he's a scrappy defender.
Yeah, he made some good plays. So another one I have on there. What do you think about like Brook Lopez signing with the Lakers again?
I love Brook Lopez, and I think he fits just perfectly with them. I think like LeBron, he loves his big men, he loves them to shoot, and I mean, Brook Lopez is a perfect fit. But I just don't know about the way that they just shipped him out of town. The Lakers have burned some bridges with some of these guys that I think would really fit well, and I think Brook Lopez is on Team Giannis now, and I think he's going to take a little bit of a cut to stay in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
But the fit's perfect.
Yeah, I think Brook Lopez would be a great fit there. I mean, the Lakers probably have burned a couple bridges. He averaged almost 13 a game last year, shot 36% from three. He could. I know I say space the floor a lot, but I do believe in today's NBA you gotta have players that space the floor. So he continues that narrative that I constantly bring up. I think he's a really well respected presence in the locker room as well, and he's just like an excellent rim protector. So he's really. I mean, exactly what you'd want in a guy, especially for a team that's already got 2 superstars that are ready to score and win championships, and you bring in a guy like this, it'd be insane. But
I think his brother would be. He's not in the shooting way, but I think.
Yeah, Rolo's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron has thrived with physical centers. I think Rolo would be a good fit too.
Yeah. Do you have another free agent you could see, maybe a role player the Lakers going after?
Yeah, I think when I think of LeBron and I think of when he was on the Heat and when he was with Cleveland, he had veterans. He had guys who could hit the three, and he had guys who could make big shots. They weren't afraid of big shots, and they're smart players for the most part. And it's funny, when he came out, I wasn't a huge fan, and he's really matured. But Austin Rivers, being Doc Rivers' son, he has experience in the playoffs now with Houston and the Clippers. He's really improved on defense. He plays hard every play, and he's the type of guy where he can play off the ball and he can play with the ball, which is really important because LeBron really is.
Is Austin Rivers a free agent?
Yeah.
Damn, yeah, he was good for Houston. I remember watching those games. He's quick and he can play deep. Like you said, when he played for the Clippers, I thought to myself like, he's literally like the coach's son. You know, I didn't think he was that good, to be honest with you. But then he goes to this Houston Rockets team, and I feel like I mean, he could beat you off the dribble. I feel like he is a good all around player. You know what I mean? I really liked watching him when he was with Houston. I really did enjoy watching him play. I almost liked him more. I liked him running the offense better than like when Chris Paul was in there. You know, that was like a mess.
Yeah, he played really well, and I think when you play with LeBron, like LeBron's basically the point guard. He has the ball in his hand. So when they get a point guard, they need a guy who is comfortable without the ball. And Rivers is that type of dude. And yeah, he made big shots for Houston. I agree. There are moments where it's like, well, let's give this guy the ball. Like,
yeah, that might be my favorite one out of all these I got on here. I had no idea he was gonna be a free agent. He showed a lot of promise for Houston. I really liked watching him play. Shit, I hope Portland picks him up. But
yeah, he's a good fit at a lot of teams.
I have one more guy, and then I have like a little honorable mention for one dude that I've been following for a long time, and he's not gonna happen, but I like him. But this is my other legitimate guy. I mean, Danny Green is one of my favorite two-way players in the league. I love watching Danny Green play. He's awesome. When he was thrown in with that Kawhi trade, I was thinking like, damn, they're gonna just ship Danny. They're gonna throw Danny Green just in the trade like that. I was just like, I mean, either Toronto's got like brilliant negotiating skills, or I mean, the Spurs are just like trying to toss him out. I'm like, I mean, this guy averaged 10 a game, 4 boards, shot 46% from the field, and 46% from three. I mean, I just think he's an incredibly efficient offensive player, and I think he goes down. He can make stops and make plays. I mean, what do you think of Danny Green? I mean, I know you're kind of a Toronto fan too, so you got to see a lot of him. But what do you think of Danny Green?
I love Danny Green. Danny Green to me is, I mean, I think of the best two-way shooting guard to me, like a true shooting guard is Klay Thompson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Danny Green
for sure
is kind of like Klay Thompson except a step down. I mean, he hits big-time threes, and he defends. He has a lot of playoff experience, and he's won in big games. He's played in big games. And if you're going to play with LeBron, then you got to be ready to make big shots and play in big games. And he hits those corner threes, and I think that's really important when you're with LeBron. I always think of all those corner threes that Ray Allen and Shane Battier made back in Miami.
Miller in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Danny Green is so clutch. I had so much. He just reminds me of like the same feeling I get watching Austin. I was just excited watching both those guys when they had the ball in their hands. Like if Danny Green can pull up with nobody in front of him, I'm like splash. This is it, you know. Jurassic Park just goes nuts. My honorable mention guy. I don't want to spend too much time on him because I don't think this is gonna happen. But I really Boogie Cousins is one of my favorite players in the league when I first started watching. I mean, I honestly just don't think he has another healthy season in him. He's just been destroyed by injuries these last 2 seasons, and I really like the guy, and I want to see him succeed, but I just don't think it's in the cards for him because I could definitely see him going. I could definitely see a below-average team just throwing him a fat contract and him going there and shooting 20 a night, you know, and just being in the same situation he was with the Kings, except for older, and now, I mean, he's gonna get hurt again, you know. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what his mindset is because if he wants to be on a winning team again, then there'll be plenty of people that are wanting to pay him. It's just how little is he willing to take and how healthy can he be. But, yeah, he's an interesting guy for any team.
Yeah, so do you have any other guys you could see going to the Lakers potentially?
Yeah, I have 2 guys. So the one guy that I think fits another mold, he's a better shooter than Shane Battier, but plays defense. He can switch in the pick and roll, and he's a veteran. And Rudy Gay is a free agent, and he's the type of guy he can defend 1, 2, 3, and 4. He spots up for 3, and he can also create a little bit. He's really experienced, and I think he's at a point in his career where he'd be willing to take a little bit of a cut to make a run at a title, and I think he really fits in with LeBron because he's always been a team guy. He's quiet, and he really fits that mold. And then my honorable mention, I dug deep in some stats. I got James Ennis. He played for the Rockets a little bit, and then he was shipped over the Sixers. So he shoots 44% from the left corner 3 and 37% from the right corner 3, and 100% of those made shots were assisted. So basically, he's a spot-up shooter. And with Anthony Davis manning the middle and LeBron going to be taking the ball to the rack, that corner 3 is really huge. And on defense, on defense, his defensive field goal percentage against, so when he's defending, the 3-point is 36%, which is pretty good defensively. And if I'm playing defense with Anthony Davis, I'm running guys up the 3-point line, and I'm funneling players into Anthony Davis where he's going to block shots. So I think he'd really fit them schematically both ways.
Yeah, I think if you're LA, you really got to look at the players that, I mean, obviously can score, but you definitely, I would take a harder look at who can play defense because I feel like you got the scoring down. You're going to have open shots, so all you need is a couple shooters, but you really need those guys that are going to go down and make plays for you. I mean, defensively in reality. So, I mean, I'm sure you heard of the Mike Conley trade. Utah was 50-32 last year. They were the 5th seed coming out of the West. I mean, is Utah now a threat in the West, do you think?
Definitely. I think that, I mean, in my opinion, Golden State, this is an off year. I mean, they're going to sign Klay Thompson. He's not going to play until the playoffs. And Curry is very good, but can Curry stay healthy when he has to carry a team and has to play hard every single night? Andre Iguodala ain't getting any younger, and
he kind of gets hurt too throughout the year. It kind of seems like he's hurt himself, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, don't get fooled by the physique. He looks invincible, but he's not. And Draymond Green won't be as effective when he's not surrounded by scorers. So I just think the Warriors are basically going to take a year off. They might make the playoffs. I would imagine that they make the playoffs, but I think they're out in the first round. I see the Jazz. I mean, they were a 5 seed last year. They didn't get rid of anything. Grayson Allen doesn't matter to them. Jay Crowder's a nice role player.
I do like Jay Crowder. Kyle Korver's gonna retire. He's gonna get cut and retire probably. So 10-day contract, retire as a Hawk or something.
Maybe he might get waived and go to LA. But and then picks. So I mean, they really gave up nothing. And I love Mike Conley. Mm-hmm. I think people forget when they were grit and grind with Randolph and
it's totally over now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Tony Allen, all those guys. Nobody's there no more.
I mean, let's be real. Before Damian Lillard was the all NBA player that he is now, Mike Conley pushed him around. Mm-hmm. Mike Conley can defend. He can hit open shots, and he's a really good team player. And in my opinion, Donovan Mitchell had to handle the ball too much. They were using him as a primary ball handler, and he is more fit as an off guard. And Conley will handle the primary ball handling. I just think Mitchell and Conley, that's a dangerous backcourt. And then you put Ingles, Favors, and Gobert. That's a strong starting 5. Yeah. And I really think that they're in the conversation with Denver and Portland around the top, assuming that they can fill in a few role players and that some of their draft picks can develop.
Yeah, this is another trade I think both teams did really well for themselves because, I mean, Memphis got off Mike Conley's contract. They got a bunch of expirings. I mean, they're primed for a run at a free agent next summer. You know, they got expiring contracts, Conley off the books. Utah needs to win. You know, they have like you just said, they have a solid team, and this trade at this point in time makes the perfect sense for them to be competitive.
I got to get Conley out of the way so Ja Morant can take over. Dude's a freak.
For real. But yeah, with this trade, the Jazz were able to retain most of their players and their depth. You know what I mean? They have one of the deepest benches in the league with Dante Exum, Ingles, like you said, Royce O'Neal, etc. Utah still has probably the better defense in the league. You know, Conley's a great two-way guard. Gobert is a defensive juggernaut. Derek Favors is the wall down low. You know, I mean, you're gonna have to get through some serious, peel back the layers to get in there and get to the cup. I think Utah is gonna be one of the. I mean, a team to beat next season for sure. Definitely.
They got a little more money to spend too.
Yeah. All right, now to my favorite part of this podcast, the Portland Trailblazer part, man. What do you think about the Portland Trailblazers? How do you think their season went this year? They were 53-29. They were the 3rd seed. I don't even think they were trying to be the 3rd seed. I think Anthony Simmons just went in there and balled out and was like, "No, we're going to play OKC," and I'm glad it worked out like that. But what did you think?
Oh man, it was. As a fan, it was a roller coaster. I love Yusuf Nurkic, and when he went down, I went down with him.
I know, yeah.
It was a disgusting injury. It was just absolutely gruesome. I don't think a lot of general NBA fans, because Portland being on the West Coast, if you're a general fan, especially anywhere other than the West Coast, you don't see Portland. Yusuf Nurkic is top 5 center in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
The way his plus minus was actually second in the NBA. And when he went down, it's plus 10.5.
Do you like the plus minus stat?
I do in a vacuum, but I definitely can understand where it can be.
Yeah, I can see where it's misconstrued, but I will say I really like the plus minus stat. I just know a lot of people really don't. I think it's a decent way to gauge a player. But I was just curious. I didn't mean to interrupt you though.
Oh no, that's good. I think if you're not putting so here's a for instance. I think Harkless and Aminu, they probably have a pretty good plus minus. They're not that good.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they don't put up any other numbers. But when you're Nurkic and you're averaging, around 18 points, 12 boards, 1.5 blocks, 1.5 steals, 4 assists, and you're putting up numbers with the plus minus.
35 plus minutes a game.
Yeah, then I think it's valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get Hood and Kanter. Obviously, Lillard was an absolute legend in the first round. It'll be something. I mean, I'll never forget it. It was one of the most incredible performances in a series that I can really remember since. Now, obviously, Nowitzki's was way more impressive because it was in the finals. But in terms of one guy just taking over, I mean, since Nowitzki taking over the Heat in the finals, I can't really remember anything like it. And then getting past Denver was pretty crazy. I thought Jokic is
too much for us. He was put on like an offensive showcase. We couldn't rebound that series. I remember I yelled at my TV rebound at least 30 times a game. You know what I mean? Because we were just giving up way too many offensive boards. But I think this season to me, Portland, it was a roller coaster, like you said, but there were so many good memories for me, so many good moments for me. I mean, the CJ Game 7 against Denver, on Mother's Day, dropping 37, absolutely just deflating that Denver. It was such a great season. I think now looking forward, this is my Enes Kanter corner. Enes Kanter played himself into a contract. I feel like he's really played himself into a contract the Blazers might not be able to afford, although I hope he can stay. I think he is an incredible fit. I mean, obviously, I think he's an incredible fit for this team. He's awesome. I love that guy. What do you think about Kanter?
Yeah, I love Kanter. I love what he brings. He has deficiencies on defense, but if we're going to sign him to be a backup center, a starting center for the first half until Nurkic gets back, he's fine.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
And he can score. He can flat score. He's a monster on the boards. And he actually showed pretty good defense compared to what his reputation was when he played for the Knicks.
Yeah.
And that was without being able to build a lot of chemistry with the team. So I think that he can improve a little bit on defense, not to the point where it's going to make a huge difference, but if the price is right, I'd love to have him back.
Yeah, I went to the game when New York came to town with my friend Ron, and I told him, I'm like, man, Enes Kanter's the only one doing anything out there. I was like, man, if we can get a hold of that guy, I've liked Enes Kanter since his days at OKC, and then, I was at work and I got a notification from Bleacher Report, and it's like, Blazers signed Enes Kanter. I'm like, this is insane. I called Ron. I'm like, dude, we got him, but I think if he were to leave, it leaves us with both Leonard and Collins opening the season for Portland. Maybe Scal getting some minutes. I don't know, because I feel like, I don't know if we're going to really draft. We're not going to draft a center, honestly. So it's like, it's going to be cut between Leonard and Collins. On the bright side, Leonard's usage rate went down and his efficiency went up. I think Leonard showed a little bit of promise this postseason. He had some good games in there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Collins, to me, I really like Collins. I've been in Collins' corner. Since we drafted him, I've defended this guy. And I think he's proven his doubters wrong. I thought he was incredible this season. He was stepping up in a big way after Nurkic was hurt. And I don't want to compare anybody to Ed Davis because I love Ed Davis, but he kind of reminded me of that energy when he went into the games and he was barking at people, getting upset with people, yelling at people. I was like, yeah, this is the type of stuff we know. We bring some toughness to the court. He showed he could be a presence defensively too. He was 6th in defensive field goal percentage inside of 6 feet, so he was holding it down too off the bench. What do you think of the combo? What do you think between Leonard and Collins?
I am Zach Collins' #1 fan. If anyone can fight me for it. I just think Zach Collins is going to just explode this year. anyone can watch him and see him play defensively. He's great timing as a shot blocker. He does a really good job at using the rule of verticality to limit those fouls. He has gotten into foul trouble because when he comes off the bench, he is trying to bring that energy similar to Ed Davis. And he's a dog, man. He is just a flat-out dog, and he's going to fight anybody on the court to win every battle. And I love that about him because as a Blazer fan, we need that. We don't really have a lot of guys that really intimidate people. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of we mentioned earlier, Jay Crowder,
right.
Draymond Green, your Dennis Rodmans, Bill Lambiers back in the day. Every team that wins a title, Serge Ibaka for the Raptors, right. They usually have a guy that their fans love him, and if you're anybody else, you hate him.
That's exactly what I was going to say about Draymond. Everybody hates on Draymond. I like the way Draymond plays because I would like to have that personality on my team. I want that guy that pisses everybody else off. That guy. I think Draymond. I like Draymond. I mean, I'd love to have a guy like that on my team, and I think I agree with what you're saying. I feel like Collins is that guy for us, and I think he's willing to stand toe to toe with anybody in the NBA. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
What do you think of Leonard though?
Leonard is confusing. Leonard is so unique because he's 7'1". He is absolutely chiseled. He is a physical specimen. He is extremely skilled. Great shooter. He can jump out of the gym. He has good hands. And I'm explaining this player, and most people are going, yeah, that sounds like a really good player, but he is, I don't want to be mean, but he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. That's just reality. He is a great team. He's a great teammate. He's a good passer. If he can just go out there, play confident, and put it together, he can be a really good asset to this team. I think that him and Collins, I think they can hold it down. I wouldn't be surprised if Meyers comes off the bench. We start Collins at the 5 and play small with Mo at the 4. Uh-huh. That wouldn't surprise me. But I like Meyers Leonard. I think that he'll be an interesting piece during tomorrow's draft to look out for. He could be moved. He has a pretty favorable contract, and it expires after the end of this year. But I hope we hold on to him unless we get something great back. But he's tough to figure out, but he stretches the floor. He's 7 foot. There's not a lot of dudes walking around that are that big who can stretch the floor, and that's an asset.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a better word. I couldn't think of that, but I couldn't think of a better word to really explain Meyers Leonard. I think confusing is the literal perfect word to describe him. Let's talk about the Blazers' future a little bit. Just as far as this upcoming year and the following year. We got Dame averaging 25 a game, 4.5 boards, 7 assists. He's shooting 44%. You covered this a little bit earlier. He's coming off a great year, hit several clutch shots, and he's proved to be one of the top point guards in the league. You know what I mean? I think he's already proved it. I'm a Blazer fan. I think he's already proved it. But this year solidifies him to anybody anywhere on the East Coast. You know what I mean? Dame is a force.
Yeah.
He hit 7 of 12 from 30+ feet this season. Now it's 58%. I know a lot of people were talking about how that was a bad shot, that 3 he hit to beat OKC, and it's just you watch Dame, these are his shots. I thought it was a good shot. Dame shows he can hit those. Obviously I'd rather him attack the cup and score and get an easier shot, but I trust Dame. Dame's got the green light from me wherever he's at.
Definitely.
We got CJ too with 21, 4 boards, 3 assists, and he shot 45%. I thought he showed killer instinct after he took over at Game 7 against Denver. I just feel like I haven't witnessed he just literally just went through Denver. He was like, I'm gonna beat you guys by myself here. You know what I mean? And I thought that game was super impressive. Him and Dame are both under contract from 2020 through the 2020-2021 season. What do you think of this pairing of CJ and Dame?
I love it. I'm all for Dame and CJ. I know that there's a lot of Portland fans that think that we should move on from McCollum. But anyone who watched that Denver series, there's not a lot of dudes who can just score at will the way CJ McCollum can. And Damian Lillard, he's so much more than the stats. Like, he can fill it up. Ended up being a really scrappy defender in the playoffs and a crafty defensive player. He had a lot of steals this year that he hasn't shown in the past. He is, I think, probably the greatest team leader in the NBA. He's an incredible human being. His work ethic is just unmatched. When you want to create a player tomorrow during the draft, sure, you want the talent, you want all these things, but Damian Lillard has all of the intangibles, and that's what puts him over the top of guys like Kyrie Irving and John Wall. It's those intangibles. And I think that they work well together. They've shown that they can defend enough to complement their offensive play, and I just think they really balance each other.
Yeah, I've read a lot. I mean, I've read a lot about, trade CJ, and I think that's a bunch of shit, honestly. I like Dame and CJ. I like Watt. I think they're the best backcourt in the NBA, so I don't read too much into any of that. But I mean, out of our whole free agent class here, with Seth Curry, we got Rodney Hood coming off the books, Enes Kanter. Who do you think? I mean, even Aminu's off the books. Who do you think Portland should bring back next year to continue success?
There is one correct answer to that question, and I just want to say this bluntly: anyone who puts Aminu is an enemy of Rip City. It is not Al-Farouq Aminu. We don't need Al-Farouq Aminu. We have his twin in Mo Harkless. We don't need more guys who can't shoot. The answer is Rodney Hood. It is Rodney Hood every day of the week. I don't want to hear about Aminu. He's a great guy, great team player. I loved while we had him. Don't bring him back. Don't bring him back.
Hey, the one thing I do want to say about Aminu is in that Pelican series when we got swept in the first round, I was thinking, damn, Aminu's showing he could hoop. And then, it's just been a dud ever since, so it's a little unfortunate. But, yeah, I got Rodney Hood on here. He was a 12-point-a-night guy, 2.5 boards, 2 assists, and he shot 42% from the field. He's also another guy, when we picked him up, and I saw that we picked, Bleacher Report gave me the notification or whatever, I was like, damn, Portland's getting after it, and we're bringing in Hooks. I liked him for Cleveland. People can say he's inconsistent, doesn't show up sometimes, which I get that. But, he showed it this postseason. He showed he could hoop still. I mean, I like Rodney Hood a lot. I think he's got to be our priority this offseason. I think no matter what, we got to keep Hood in if we want to stay competitive. We'll be competitive regardless, but I think Hood really brings a lot to the table for us. He's a great role player. He played great minutes this postseason. And, if he walks, those minutes kind of go to Anthony and Gary Trent. So I would really love to keep Hood around. Going from that, I think another thing that Portland could do this offseason is try to sign a lot of one-year deals maybe. We got a ton of money off the books next summer. We got Leonard coming off Hark. Unless Leonard's traded tomorrow or something. But as of today, it'd be Leonard, Harkless, E.T., and Scal, which Scal's not a lot. But it's $30 million in cap space that's coming off the books. So if we can sign one-year deals to keep that $30 million intact or whatever, that'd be awesome. It'd give us a lot of flexibility next summer to target another big-time free agent. Unless Hood wants 3 years or something, I'd be willing to break that for Hood. But otherwise, I wouldn't be. What do you think the likelihood of us trading expiring in the trade tomorrow? What do you think the likelihood of that happening is?
Of us making a trade tomorrow?
Yeah.
If I had to put it at a percentage, I would trade for a player or just any kind of trade.
Just move up in the trade or even trade for a player or try to get one of these expirings off the books.
I'd put it at 35% chance. 35, 45. 40%.
I feel with our expiring contracts, we have a chance to make a competitive trade. I don't know. We could offload contracts now and stay competitive. One guy that came to mind for me, I know you got a guy too, but one guy that came to mind was Kevin Love. He's averaging 17 a game. He's got 11 boards a game. He brings post scoring and he can also spread the floor. That's somebody I kind of read about and looked into. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea. I think Love's injury prone. His contract goes until the end of 2023, and he would soak up a ton of our cap space. The trade would look something like, Harkless, Leonard, and a choice of Gary Trent, Anthony Simmons, and our first-round pick, one of those three. But what would you think about Kevin Love coming to Portland?
I like Kevin Love. I think he's a good player. I think that when Nurkic comes back, Kevin Love is perfect fit next to him on offense. He stretches the floor, pick and pop, and really crafty rebounder too. I like his experience. I like the fact that when we get in the playoffs, assuming with Kevin Love, he's made and taken big shots. He's played on the big stage. And the injuries, definitely, I mean, they are scary, I agree. I'm open to any trade for Kevin Love as long as we're not getting rid of the backcourt, obviously. And I don't know, I think Simons is a superstar, and I think Collins is special as well. So, but for Turner, Harkless, and the pick, and a future pick for Love, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I know you got a trade idea too. Who you gonna hit me with?
Yeah, so the one trade, it is not. I guess I can't take full credit. I don't know if we're supposed to suggest other podcasts, but Locked On Blazers is a great podcast, and they do this mock draft with the entire Locked On NBA. And the trade that the Locked On Blazers made was Otto Porter Jr. coming to Portland and trading away Turner, Harkless, the 25th overall pick, and a 2022 pick. And that would actually open up cap space for Portland as well. So you would bring in Otto Porter Jr. and you'd be able to sign Curry and Hood.
Damn.
Which would be money. Or Kanter and Hood.
Yeah, that trade's way better than mine. Damn, we need to pull the trigger on something like that.
Yeah, and the benefit if anyone is thinking, well, why the hell would Chicago do that? The benefit for Chicago is they're not going to the playoffs next year. It's not going to happen. So you bring on 2 expiring contracts, and you get 2 picks for it. So after next season, Turner and Harkless would come off of the Bulls' books. They have a honestly, a really intriguing young core. I really like their young core.
Would have a year under his belt over there in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, he's the money pick. Let's just say that. Yeah, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, and Wendell Carter Jr. And now you're looking at signing a max player.
Yeah.
Now that's a team to be reckoned with. So that would be the intrigue for the Bulls. And also that 2022 pick is very enticing because potentially, you never know what's going to happen with Portland. That would be the year after Lillard and McCollum are free agents. So depending on if Portland went into a rebuilding mode, that pick could be pretty high. So the Bulls would snag that high pick.
Yeah, the Bulls aren't going nowhere, at least for this next year either, So I feel like that Otto Porter trade would instantly put Portland over the top. That'd be amazing. Damn.
Yeah, Otto Porter Jr., he is the type of guy who is very talented. I believe he was number 3 overall pick when he came out in the NBA draft out of Georgetown. And he's underperformed. I mean, let's just be real. He's underperformed. But that's what people said about Rodney Hood. That's what people said about Seth Curry. People said Shabazz Napier had nothing left. Portland brings guys like Mo Harkless who are bust, and they get into that culture that Damian Lillard and Terry Stotts have created, and they squeeze out the most out of these players, and I think they do the same with Otto.
Portland's awesome about, just bringing in players that are, it's essentially, supposedly washed up, or they're not in the right mindset or whatever. Portland's culture, that is one thing that I don't think anybody can deny. They can bring in, almost any player, just get them as much as they can out of them, potentially. So
yeah,
that'd be awesome. But all right, Nick, we're coming up on 40 minutes. Do you have anything else you want to add about the Blazers or anything like that, or the Lakers, or the draft tomorrow?
Man, I'm looking forward to the draft tomorrow. I think that there's going to be a lot of action. I think there's going to be a lot of trades. And if I had to make a bold prediction, it'd probably be that there's going to be 3 trades within the top 10.
Yeah, man, it's like the calm before the storm right now. So I'm just excited to see where Kobe White goes. I thought I read something about R.J. Barrett falling back a little bit, but that's not going to happen. The Knicks are going to secure him. So it's going to be an exciting time, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, Nick. We're gonna do more of this. I'm gonna try to get at least 2 out a week or something. So, man, we'll be seeing more of you. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Right on. Awesome. Thanks for having me on.